Hello, everybody. My name is Ivan Drobish, and this is our fifth day of JavaScript Capacity Center week. So this is week number 5. It means that we previously already had 4 of them. Feel free to use our YouTube channel to rewatch talks from previous Capacity Center weeks. And during this week, we've already had 4 talks. All of them were recorded. So if you're interested in Angular signals, feel free to rewatch the talk with Sergey. On Tuesday, we had talk about system design, introduction interview, and we talked about the interview with Nazari about design URL shortener. Another talk that we had was about LLRT, Lightning Fast AWS JavaScript runtime. On Thursday, we had talk about AI, and this is not the regular talk where we will be where we said about benefits of AI. So the name of this talk was I don't need any AI. So if you're interested in this one, feel free to rewatch that. And today we have a very interesting one because it also has a very catchy name. So the name of this talk is View Transitions API, the end of SPA. So to agree that we probably will have end of SPA. So discover the potential of View Transition API. And today we have Vitaly Bobrov, who will help us to discover that, to explain the transition API. So Vitaly is lead software engineer. Hello, Vitaly. Maybe you can
Hello.
say some words. You.
So I will do it later, actually.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Get it. I'm not going to steal any more time. The only thing that I would like to mention, guys, feel free to put your questions in the chat in YouTube channel or in your community platform. This time I will be more carefully checking all questions, and I will make sure that every question will be asked. So feel free to leave questions. And one more important thing here, the most interesting question that Vitaly will choose will be rewarded. So the person who asked this question will be rewarded. So feel free to ask your questions and they will be asked. Yep, that's it from my side. I'm passing my word to you, Vitaly. Yep, Vitaly, stage is yours.
Okay, thanks. Let me share my screen. Hopefully, you can see something. So, View Transitions API and why it's important, how it would change SPA or multiple page applications as well, and why we should actually care about it, right? So, a few words about me. I'm Vitaly. I'm a lead software engineer at EPAM. I'm working with front end for almost a decade. Also, I used to participate in tech conferences, speak about different stuff, some interesting, some not that much interesting. You can find me internally in EPAMP, of course, but you can follow me on Twitter, which now called X, and I have a technical blog. So, what is View Transitions API? It's a bunch of functionality that is already available in a lot of browsers that allows us to animate transitions between different pages, right? Speaking of classical multi-page applications, it was recently enabled view transitions for them. Actually, it was announced at Google I/O a few days ago, right? And for SPA, it's even easier to do so with simple function calls. I will show it later. And why it's actually going to be to the standard. Yeah. The thing is that in native applications, for example, in mobile applications, it's really common to animate transitioning between different views or even subviews like dialogues, models, and things like that. These things not just fancy, yeah, but they also add some context and movement to our actions, yeah. So user can better understand what's going on in the application with these animations. Yes, so for example, this other create event inside calendar, yeah, your create event button becomes a form and things like that. It creates a connection, creates some kind of flow that user can clearly follow and understand what's going on. And it's something pretty hard to do in web currently, right? Because such morphing transitions require a lot of calculations, like size changes, position changes, even shape changes, and would affect performance of applications, right? So browsers now with view transitions put all the heavy work from you. They do a lot of things behind the scenes in native layer, like Chromium browsers. They are written in C mostly, yeah, and they use C to implement this stuff for you. And they expose simple JavaScript and CSS APIs, which allow you to enable something cool with just few lines of code. And it's gonna be as performant as it's possible in your application, and could be compared to native applications and mobile applications. So what are actual use cases for that API? Of course, you can animate content changes, yeah, like adding new nodes to the list, removing them, filtering them, rotating, and things like that. You can animate a specific DOM nodes, like changes of one element. For think about something like counter, right? When we change some numbers, you can basically animate that content changes inside some DOM node. And of course, page or view navigation transitions. What about browser support? The most hard question always for new APIs for the web. So it's not really bad. All Chromium browsers have it for more than a year already enabled, starting from Chromium 111. Safari, that's really exciting thing that Apple shows their interest in this API. They enabled view transitions in Safari Tech Preview in April, so they're working on them. The current Tech Preview implementation is a bit buggy, but still, it shows that it's gonna to be shipped at some point by Apple too. Unfortunately, not that much news from Firefox, but as all of us know, Chromium and Safari will cover like the majority of your users already. So the view transitions is actually a recommendation to CSS standard, and the current level 1 is at recommendation state, so it's more or less has consistent shape already and won't change that much. And there are a lot of works going on the second level, where we will see some improvements in usability of these APIs basically. I will mention it, what in particular they're going to change later. So how uh, to understand some stuff, yeah, some new technology? We need to make our hands dirty and just check it out. So how to do it? For my purposes, I will use Angular Tour of Heroes kind of application. It's simple and it's available. I created a stack blitz for it, so you can feel free to fork it and play with it later. But basically, the thing is, I am working with Angular most of the time. That's why my example in Angular, but it doesn't matter really, because React Router in particular has already view transitions implementation. Vue also has, and it's actually not that big effort for framework developers to enable it. So they're already here, and it won't differ that much. I would say modern frameworks in general do things differently in case of implementations, right? But in case of overall structure of applications, quite similar anyway. So to enable multi-page transitions in browser, currently Chrome still, and all Chromium browsers still have this under the flag. So if you're gonna try to this one, uh, it's you need to enable the flag, but for single page applications it doesn't really matter because they use they don't use transitions on actual browser navigation. So in case of Angular, we just enable a single flag in router configuration, enable view transitions. That's it. I will explain what this flag does under the hood then. But for any Angular application, you just enable a flag, or you can enable it if you use a more modern way to for providing roads for your application with view transition function call, and the outcome is the same. It's just different ways to declare it using the older way and the newer way, and we are done. That's it. Let's check it out. Let's me share our application. So as you can see, it's True Heroes. I just recolored it a bit, and we have navigation, which is pretty standard. View changes, nothing fancy here. So I have this flag commented out. Let's enable it and save our changes. Hope everything will work. And now let's try to navigate between views. And actually, animation default animation is fade in, fade out. So old view fades out, new view fades in. But to make it easier to see, because I'm not sure everything would be captured by video streaming, we have animation tab in browsers. Pretty handy thing. It's easy to find. Command Shift P and animations, and it enables animations pane in browser. I have already it enabled, and what we can do, we can slow down all animations on our page, so they will be easier to catch and actually to debug too. So as you can see, now it slowly fades in, fades out. And we did just single line of code change for that. It's the default behavior, default animation. And as you can see, we can animate each view transition. It also applies mix blend mode to avoid radar effects during fade in, fade out, but it works. And it's default one that provided by browser. So again, what happening when we enable view transitions with defaults? So browser takes the screenshot of old view and it renders the new view. So new view is always live, and old view you can think a bit about it just as an image. So we render new view and crossfade between old and new. That's it. And you did nothing for it. Browser just takes care for you. So what about, again, browser support? We can actually use view transitions as progressive enhancement. So if user browser doesn't support it, it doesn't really break anything. So they still can use your application, but they won't have these fancy animations. Also, we should always think about user system preferences, like prefers reduced motion. Yeah, so we can use media queries and declare that view transition name should be known. This disables the view transitions for this media query. Also, we can alternate animations for different screen sizes and things like that, like with any regular animation. The thing is that usually transitions that looks good on mobile viewport or mobile screen not that might not look that good on desktop and vice versa. So you might want to alternate them. So let's have some more things because crossfade is cool, but nothing special, right? So let's try to use some animations actually. So as you can see, now we have this circle in on each view transition, and it's very slow, and that's why it's blocking with its overlay. Let's turn the speed back. So as you can see, we have this animation. What we do for that? We specify we use view transition alt pseudo selector and view transition new one, and we pass root. Root is the root of our document, obviously, and we specify some animation, right? Like any regular animation. So we define time, transition curve, and animation itself, and that's it. Animations I use here is from Transition Style. It's pretty cool service that provides a bunch of uh, interesting animations. Yeah, and once you click on any animation, it just copies CSS animation into clipboard, so you can then paste it. Let's say this one. Yeah, we insert it and change our name here in this declaration. Let's check it out. Okay, now we have the squares. So basically what we did right now is Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides in browser, right? So we transition in views. Pretty interesting, but kind of boring. Also, what we can do, we can specify different animations, of course, for different, for new view and old view. Let's say here, let's split our declarations here. For old, we use animation wipe out right. For new view, we use wipe in right. Let's see how it works. And now we have this transition like in cool slides. That's pretty fun. Let me explain a bit what's going on here. So, as I mentioned before, we have these cool selectors, view transition alt and view transition new. So it accepts the parameter name, and we can specify view transition name on any element. By default, our basically root, our document already has name root, so we can specify transitions for it. And then we can specify more different transitions for different views named by view transition name and so on and so forth. So you can split everything, define different ways to animate different things with 3 lines of code, for example, of CSS. Here, as I mentioned, transition style service, pretty cool if you want to have some quick copy paste animations right out of the box. Check it out. That was fun, but how we can animate individual elements, yeah, on our views. I commented out our whole view transition names, and let's say we want to animate headlines, right? So to do so, I have let me show. As this header has class name headline, yeah. And what we do, we specify a view transition name and call it something like headline. Then in our view transition alt and view transition new selectors, we can use that name to address animation for this specific element. So we specify that we want animation slide out left for old view and slide in right for new view. As you can see, I use some custom properties. There is a cool project called OpenProps, and it provides a helpful CSS properties, custom properties for different things, including animations. So they have some like spinning, blinking animations, and so on. Pretty cool project, easy to integrate and easy to use, so you can check it out. Let's back here. So we enable view transition on our headline. Let's see how it works. And as you can see, our headline goes out and goes in. Let's slow it down a bit. So the whole page is fades in, fades out. using default animation, but our headline moving right and left. Yeah, we can uncomment, for example, our root view transition and combine it. So let's see. As you can see, our headline moves has its own animation, and all other document root document has slideshow as we wanted. Let's disable slideshow for example for a moment. Then, for example, we can animate labels, right? Because we have search right here. Uh, we can this not search this sorry add hero, and here we have search. Let me change the viewport size a bit for it because I want everything to fit, but it's hard. Okay, let's uncomment. So I have labels here, and I added it view transition name label. For alt, I want animation fade out. For new, I want fade in bloom. And this is something new. For view transition new label with which is only child, I have a different animation. Only child, what does it mean? For each of these transitions before, we had both elements on both views, on old view and on new view. But it could be a situation when, for example, old view has like here label, but old view doesn't. So in this case, we can apply a separate animation. The same goes on, for example, if on old view we have some element, but on new view it won't be available. So we can animate it separately too. Then I have input, also apply it view transition name to just crossfade and change its position actually. So let's see how does this work. Uh, as you can see, our input changes its position. So on old view, it has higher position on old, and browser does everything for us, moving elements to their new position from old and uh, changing their shapes or sizes too. So that's cool. We just use few lines of CSS and have these interesting animations. Probably not the most useful for a real application, but as a showcase, there is a lot of possibilities what you can do with it. And let's, for example, think about our input and its position change. Yeah, to make it without view transition API, you need to catch the position of element on old view. Yeah, then you need to hide this old view, render new view, and after it renders, you need to check a new position of this input, right? And then you should animate with, for example, JavaScript these position changes and remove old elements, leave only new elements. Quite a lot of job to do. Not straightforward, requires some effort, right? Effort is equals to time and money. But with view transitions, it's just few lines of CSS and that's it. We don't need to do any calculations, anything. So let me dive in what going on here again and sum it. So each element on old view and new view should have unique view transition name. So we can't have like multiple elements with the same name on old view and new view because browser can't understand which element goes where, uh, which element morphs to which element, right? So this is a limitation which they trying to address in the second level of specification. There, it's not fully decided yet, but there will be a way to specify multiple elements by single or few declarations There are some proposals to have something like regex or special uh, selection for multiple elements in view transition name. It's still in progress, but hopefully we will see some solutions soon. But for now, you need to have unique view transition names. Yeah, then you use view transition alt and new functions, pass the name and specify animations if you don't want default one. Still, on each view transition name group, yeah, we have default animation, which is fade in, fade out, plus change in size and position. If you want it, you can just assign a view transition name to an element, and that's it. It will work. But if you want to have something customized, you need to use view transition alt new and pass separate animations here. As I said, only child is additional selector that allows you to select to provide separate rules when view old or new doesn't have the element to animate. So you can, for example, what happens if you transition some sidebar, yeah, and some pages don't have actually any sidebar, so you can uh, transition it differently in this scenario. Open props link to this project, really cool and handy when you need quite quickly to use some uh, styles or animations. It has a bunch of useful tools. So everything we see here, let's see how it works under the hood. So we have view transitions when we enable it, and browser creates a tree for view transitions. So each view transition selected element with view transition name specified creates a group for animations. By default, we have root group. Yeah, once we specify any new view transition name in our CSS file, it creates another view transition group, which is separate, will have separate animations and so on. And each of these view transition groups creates image pairs for alt and new. Actually, new transition not an image because it's live rendered view, but alt one is just an image. As I said again, names must be unique, yeah. But what if we want to animate list of elements, yeah, like different cards or different links that should move around on the screen? Unfortunately, until we have any solution provided by specification, we need to do something manually. For example, we can assign some unique ID as a view transition name for each element from JavaScript, from our framework. In my case, I did it with simple ng style, where I create a view transition name with unique ID for each element. Yeah. Uh, Again, some note how it's done usually in frameworks, this integration with view transition. As you can see, uh, in Angular, we enable it on router level. It's obvious because router knows when we rendering a new view, when we transition. What they do, basically, they check if API exists in browser, and if does, they run a start view transition method on document, which accepts a synchronous function, which should somehow update DOM. So in this case, inside this function, they put the rendering, right? So browser waits the rendering process, and once it's happened, it already took a screenshot of old view and renders this new view and transition it. And we can always provide a fallback if there is no API available in browser. We just update in the DOM and that's it. So React and Vue have something similar. In React, it integrated in React Router. I don't remember if they had it on the unstable flag. I believe. Not sure if it's stable already, but the principle is the same. React Router just wraps rendering of a new view inside this document style view transition. And that's it. Nothing really fancy here, and it's low effort for even framework developers to do so. So let's try to animate different elements. Yeah. So here I have our hero search. Yeah, in dashboard, right? So on hero search we have. Let me find. I lost it. No, not search, but I want dashboard. Yeah, and I have commented out this piece, which assigns unique view transition name to each element, to each link to our hero detail link, right? We call it VT hero and add hero ID here. Then we can do pretty much the same for heroes. So again, we have on heroes view, we have a list of heroes, right? So we can add our ng style with view transition name to each of list elements. And let's basically check it out. So let's move to dashboard. We have list of heroes. Yeah, we specify them with the hero ID names. Then we go to heroes list, and let me make it bigger. And all the heroes that are presented in list from dashboard, transforming, changing their position to the list of all heroes. Let me slow it down again. Sorry. To 25. So our elements changes their shapes, changing their position, and crossfading. And we do it with just single CSS property. The only thing we need to provide unique names for each of our uh, hero items. And as you can see, here we have Lee tag, yeah, and on dashboard we have them as A tags. So for view transition, it doesn't matter if they're of the same tag or they different. The thing is only that matters view transition name, right? Also, we can add it to, I believe, hero details. Yeah. So our hero details will transition from list. Yeah, here we have hero name, for example. So let's try to navigate to hero details, and as you can see, our hero name now transforms into a list in dashboard, for example, or on heroes list or on dashboard. So again, small effort, but you can create really cool things with it. That's basically all that I have for today. So my main message to you to just enable view transitions in your application and play around with it. You can also copy my stack blitz and play with it. It's really cool and low effort thing to try it. So try it out. Thank you very much for listening, and let's switch to our possible questions. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vitaly. We have a couple of questions on YouTube, and let me ask them. So the question is from Alexei. Do you have experience with the estimations? How much time do you need legacy project to migrate to Vue Transitions API?
Well, as you can see, just enable it on router level, right? And then it's up to you how much animations and what animations you want to implement. So to enable it, just few lines of code on router in Angular or React. Then it's up to you. Default one is enabled for you. You just don't need to do anything. If you want something fancier, it's up to you how much time you need to implement some animations. Also, it might probably require some collaboration with UX designers to not like create just a fancy slideshow. Interestingly, for example, material design, they have guidelines for animations, but I believe for material 2, for material 3, it's not there yet, but I believe they will add them at some point. So what these motions in material design means and how to implement them, they have such docs.
Okay, so to sum up in short, it will not take a lot of time to
To
set
just
up our
enable just
basic.
few minutes, then it depends how what animations you want to implement.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Vitaly. Just a quick reminder to you guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them into YouTube channel or in VR community. So we have one more question. So the question is also from Alexei. Usually the page animation feature doesn't even add to the backlog. Do you have experience with integrations of your transition API in production?
Well, it, it depends if you have like design, right? On our project, we have UX designers usually, so they might request some kind of animations. But yeah, basically, it's in like area of design. Yeah, so if your project don't care about design much, maybe it's not in the backlog. But it's not question about API itself. Yeah, it's how much effort your project want to put in UX, basically.
Okay, and did you personally have experience integration in production?
Not yet, not yet, because we have some other priorities right now. But and I don't want just simple fade in, fade out.
Mhm.
In case we will start to work on it, something more defined, refined.
Yeah, yeah, I see like the emoji from Alexei. Okay, so at the moment we don't have any more questions, and I think that's a good time to do some announcement. And yeah, we're really happy to announce our first JS hackathon. It's not just hackathon; it's Hack AI Thon. So with some like gameplay play words. So we are pleased to invite you to embrace your best ideas to bring together GS and AI technologies and a 6 day exciting marathon, which will be held between June 14th and June 23rd. So I'm dropping the link into our community chat. Feel free to reach out to this link and check out it how so about any details there about the jury, about the categories. So there are gonna be 4 categories during this hackathon, hack AI-thon to be correct. So yeah, feel free to join. It's gonna be really interesting, and it's gonna be our first experience in hackathons. Okay, at the same time, we've just got another question from Akshay. So the question is, what do you think about its impact on FCP performance? So probably its first
Just content from
campaign.
page, it won't really affect it because it's actually after your first paint for SPA at least. So you already have your applications ready. So first content from paint already passed. Then browser just renders and you view, which is not full like page reload. So it doesn't affect basically.
Yeah, cool. Let me check it last time. So on YouTube, no more new questions on VR community page. I don't see anything here. So, yeah, we don't have any more questions. Okay, now you're able to choose the most interesting one. Which do you think should be rewarded? Okay, um, I have a question from Abdullah. Just like the question is in picture, you're looking like a different person. Why, bro? Yeah, but I don't know who is
I don't know,
like
maybe old photos.
okay, yeah, but I don't think that's the question about the topic, so I would ask you not to choose this one because it's not related to your transitions. Okay, yeah, which one would like to choose? We
I
have
don't
three of
know.
them.
Not my choice. Let it be from first contentful paint.
Okay, so the person who asked this question, you'll be rewarded and will reach you out. Okay, thank you very much, Vitaly. Just a small closing part. Thank you very much, guys, for visiting our Just CC Competitive Week. Just a reminder that all sessions were recorded, so you're able to visit our YouTube channel to rewatch recordings about this Just CC Competitive Center Week or the previous ones. We have a hackathon. Feel free to join it. And thank you very much. Thank you, Vitaly. Have a good day and have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.